Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your ninth Doom Patrol Season 3 episode review, feels like last year when we did an episode 9 review, that was the finale. We still have one more week left. Thankfully, they managed to get their routine down and they're going to finish the story. Which I'm like, I swear to God, if they just ended Season 3 like here and there, I would have been like, oof. Would not have liked the way they would have continued this in Season 4. But thankfully not. This week on Doom Patrol, this felt like mostly set up for the finale, which I'm not surprised, give or take, because that's just how the episode went. In my opinion, I feel like after two, for me, very amazing episodes that like really made you question who the heck are you rooting for and what really. I mean, that theme still continues here, but it mainly was the kind of what the characters are feeling and what their motivations are, which I know is still a good thing, but like when you're really, I don't know, like I feel like this was just a very, like, hopefully next week will like really wrap up the season very well in whatever Doom Patrol method they will, because this is always the case. I'm hesitant to say if this was like on par with the last 2 weeks. I feel like it was still good at the end of the day, but I don't know, but regardless, still some funny moments, of course, from Cliff always. And yeah, this definitely gave me a little more chew on. Also, I finally understood what the heck is going on in Kay's mind. I finally understood. It took 3 seasons. And I understand finally. It took me damn that long. But yeah, so. Anyway, with that being said, let's go for the Butchered recap and talk about this week's episode of Doom Patrol. So we begin with another weird flashback just to continue the fact that at one point in the past, well, I'm not even going to go there with the time travel logic. I'm not even going to start there. In the past, when Rita and Dim Mills were friends and, having fun and, having these amazing experiences, moments together. I'm also making sure we're recording. Yeah. When that was happening. And then we cut to present day where like they hate each other, they want to kill each other. Well, Rita wants to kill her for, obviously killing her boyfriend, the love of her life, supposedly. Is that the case? I don't know. And she's just, look, I did what I did. I mean, I had no choice. And I'm like, the whole like, I mean, this is the interesting thing about this show's interpretation of time travel is that when you travel through time, or at least in their machine, you lose your memory, and you may get it back, but it's going to take a long while for you to get that back. And so, it also allows you to not really, and also, I'm pretty sure I think it's like the first time you time travel, you lose your memory. So that whatever kind of like selfish purpose you have, because normally, let's be honest here, when you're doing time travel, you're going to do it for like some selfish reason, just to benefit yourself. So I guess that's kind of like the universe's way of like, learn this time, and then you can do the fun stuff. So, I guess that helped with like Rita trying to like learn a different side of Dim Mills, and it also makes it tragic to the point where like now she's considered her enemy. And for Dim Mills, yeah, in that timeline, she was evil. She was working with the Brotherhood, and now briefly for a moment you think, okay, I can tolerate the Doom Patrol. I can tolerate them, but then once they start realizing who they are, and it's like, yeah, it's a collision course for hell. Let's say it like that. Rita immediately wants to kick her ass, but she teleports into the bird and walks and flies away, leaving Rita all confused and pondering what's next for her in her step. We start to see what everyone. Well, majority of on Cliff's side of things, Cliff is kicked out of his. Oh no, we don't get that yet. We get Larry having a bit of like a nightmare about his like choice to be a father again to this alien parasite, and the fact that he might not be cut out for it. That's another big, thing that he has to worry about, since he wasn't really a good father or grandfather the last go around. What will be different this time? I believe I know we cut back to the hospital where Vic is finally getting more according to his new, well, not his new body, more like his new flesh, his new like appearance. And while he's happy, like deep down, his dad's like, his dad's trying to explain to like the real reason why he wanted his son to get the cybernetic implant instead of going for his mom's friend who could have given him synthetic skin. So at some point pre the cyborg incident, the dad was trying to make it to one of his games, and he was I don't entirely remember if it was it was a new racist janitor who looked at him, was unaware that he was a scientist there, and then when he was looking for his keys, he was assuming that Mr. Stone was actually trying to rob the place. So with no hesitation, he brought him down to the ground and just like kept him there, did a citizen's arrest, and basically told him like, you know, you're not stealing from anything. And then once the situation was cleared up, actually I don't even know if they even mentioned how the situation got. I'm pretty sure he got fired because like that was still like modern-ish times, so it's like I don't think that would be tolerated. So I'm pretty sure he got fired afterwards. So continuing from that point, yeah. So after that event, it just reminded him like this is still the world we're at. And to be fair, again, it's another one of those. This is the real world for you because like yeah, in the real world we're still having those issues. It's not something that has gone away, and it's not easy to go away. And as a matter of fact, in one of the rare moments, I actually did pay attention to Supergirl. There was a line that this isn't really a spoiler for Supergirl, not really, but Brainy was telling who was it? He was telling a character that is racism still a thing in the future, and he said, sadly, yes. In the year 3000, it still happens, and for me, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised, because sad to say, there are still people in my own generation that are kind of like that, and it sucks. It really does. Will we ever grow out of it? Probably not. That's the sad thing about it. But anyway, enough about that side tangent. So when the opportunity presented itself to save Vic, he wasn't just thinking about his life, but he was also thinking about, like, you know, protecting himself and giving him that suit of armor to protect himself from people like that so he can do it, which Vic understands to a sense, but he still took away his humanity. He still took away his freedom to, like, really be a human again, because if he had gotten the synthetic skins first, it could have given it a whole different life direction, which is true. So as much as Vic understands what his father was trying to accomplish with that, he's still like, this wasn't what I wanted. I know you couldn't consult me, but you should have thought of me as your son. Like, I don't care what people think of me. I wanted to have the chance to live my life the way I wanted to, and I didn't get that chance. I lost that chance for many years, which is a fair point there. I completely understand him. I want to say that, yeah, so DeMills, or now we'll refer to her as Madame Roger, she retreats to Florida to seek out the retired Brotherhood of Evil, who are living in a condo, of all things. And she tells them, like, her situation, that, like, you know, hey, the Niles Cauldron's experiments are trying to kill me. We need to team up. We need to take them down so we can resume the Brotherhood's plan. But the Brain has different plans. It's been 70 years since he last sent Madame Roger to the future, which is now their present. A lot has happened. You know, the Brotherhood of Evil destroyed. Niles defeated them with the original Doom Patrol. Their concept of what they want to do now, their goals have changed. They don't want to be the Brotherhood anymore. They want to do something new. It's still, like, evil-wise to us, but, like, you know, in terms for them, like, they want to do something new. And what, you know, they're again, interests aligned that, you know, one of the experiments is sadly Cliff. So they're like, okay, you know what? We can help you out. But they're still, like, very low-key, the old-fashioned, like, okay, you're a member of us, but you're not a member of us, if you know what that means. And I'm just looking at myself, that kind of sucks, but it's like, I'm not surprised. It's a freaking living brain in a robot, like a walking robot. I'm like, well, I like Cliff, who's funny. This guy's just like, dead, code, serious. Well, not like Dalek, but like, close enough. So they formulate a plan. Madame Roger is looking for a bunch of old-ass weaponry to try and take them down. Meanwhile, Rita's trying to pitch this master plan. Rita's master plan to take down Madame Roger and the Brotherhood of Evil. Which I'm thinking to myself, where's the Sisterhood of Dada? Did we forget about them? They're still assets, dude. I mean, they don't have the best physical powers in the world, but they could still inflict some decent damage on them. So, where are they? Who knows? We just completely forgot about the Sisterhood this week. Whoops. I just realized I forgot to change my shirt. Because normally I do a much more tighter red shirt with a different shade. I forgot where I was. Whatever. I'll change it up for Nancy Drew later. Where was I? Yeah. So, but however, Rita's master plan was to have Jane on the team, to have Cyborg, to have Cliff, and to have Negative Man already charged up, ready for battle. Again, remember last week, and this kind of is like the clarification here, is Kay is now fully in charge of her own mind. Most of the personalities, except for Jane, are gone. Jane's just like hybrid. Well, not really. She's just wandering the mind that's now really empty and now really creepy. So Kate doesn't have any powers. She's just a little girl. I mean, she created all these personalities with powers, but she doesn't have powers herself. So she's kind of like not really a real asset here for the team. And then Victor conveniently shows up and, presents himself with his new look. And everyone's like, fuck. This is the wrong time to do this. We are literally in the middle of a battle here. And, you decide to, remove the most defining feature of yourself that could prove to kick some ass. Which I'm like, I understand their point. But at the same time, Victor's like, I don't know. I don't care. I'm finally happy. And Larry's a dad now. So Larry's kind of, more on daddy mode. Not in that way, but more like, he has to protect the baby. And going into battle isn't something he really wants to do 100%. So Rita's like, okay, fine, I'll take Cliff. And Cliff's happy. And then his daughter shows up at the door. And then he just immediately leaves the meeting. And there's a chance Rita's like, yeah, I'm screwed. So the only reason why Cliff's daughter's there is to drop off his pills for his Parkinson's. And, she's also concerned that his addiction to the drugs aren't really helping him as well. So she didn't want to go there, but her wife supported her, you should go out there. You should try to make amends, make an effort to try and, help him out. And she made him an appointment with a specialist to, actually get professional help for this issue. And Cliff's willing to listen because he, again, after last week, he wants to be in his daughter's life again. He wants to be in his grandson's life. This is what he's got to do to get there. Around the same time, did we get to that moment yet? I don't believe 100%, but yeah, no. I know what does happen next is that Kay and Vic are downstairs, and I sort of I thought this was another thing, but we're back in the interview room from season 1. Also parts of season 2. I forgot about that part. And Kay's admitted that in this room, all of my personalities were, interviewed, but except me. Niles never thought I was a worthy person to be interviewed. And honestly, I'm not surprised, considering what research he was kind of going along with at the time. If my memory is kind of correct from season 1, it's been a long time since I watched that season. He needed to research the powers so that he could figure out how to save his daughter. Well, not save his daughter, more like how do I get my daughter under control so when I do eventually die, she can handle things on her own, which is a fair point. I get that. And Kate doesn't really have any power, so there wasn't really any need to really interview her and trying to figure out what's her quirks, what makes her tick, what makes her powers work. And there was no real benefit. And she just felt like no one wanted to talk to me. Everyone just cared about my personalities, and that's all that it was. And Vic's telling her, no, it wasn't like that. We were always available to talk to you. We just thought you never wanted to come out, and you just let your personalities come to play. And Kay just asked Vic, can you just interview me? Like Niles would. And I was like, this would have been a very perfect moment to, if we had still done the whole dead break thing with Niles back in episode 3. Oh, I miss him. I miss Timothy Dalton so much. Anywho, Rita, understanding the situation, majority of the team's not really going to help her anymore. She decides to solo hike it out all the way to Florida to take down the Brotherhood alone. Which I'm like, you have stretchy powers. You're going to fight a gorilla, a man with a brain, and a woman who could turn into a bird. You have no hope in that fight, but okay. Once Cliff is kind of getting to a good point with his daughter and trying to realize okay, he knows what he's gonna do now. He looks down, the baby starts morphing into a weird creature. I'm just like, the hell is this? But it's DeMille. Somehow she got into the house. She transformed into the baby and got into Cliff's arms, and she begins to turn into this weird small version of herself with the CG here was not terribly bad. It was noticeable, but I'm like, it's passable. And I just love the scene where Rita and Victor hitting it back and forth like fucking ping pong or something. It was funny. It was really funny. Oh damn! I'm hitting my PS5. I thought that part was actually pretty funny. And even like trying to get the other baby involved, like throwing it over to Cliffside so that Larry could participate, or trying to keep it safe, or whatever the case might be. Eventually, Demills managed to, well, Madame Roger. I'm gonna call it Demills. It's getting annoying. Madame Roger just sounds so pompous. That's the first time I've ever said that word in public. Huh. What are the odds? Demills manages to get a good blow on Cliff, managing to actually disable his body for a brief bit. Kay hiding under the table because, again, mentally, she's still a little girl. She doesn't know how to do anything. She doesn't know how to fight, so she just retreats into her mind, lets Jane take over again, but by the time Jane takes over, it's already too late. She has Cliff held at metal point, I guess. And once it's realized that, yeah, she's not going to go get anywhere, she teleports her and Cliff out of there. Back to Florida. And Rita promises his daughter, like, we're going to get him back. Don't worry. Like, we'll get him back home. Just take care of your son. We'll take it from here. And Rita does get pretty angry again that, Jane's finally back. And Jane, isn't denying that she's late for the party. But at the same time, like, what is she supposed to do? Like, the most she can do is, like, fight. Like, a one-on-one man fight. I ain't going to do shit to a freaking gorilla. She has no other powers beyond her sassiness. And yeah, it's just become clear that this new Doom Patrol is not. It's not in a fighting condition because, like, again, Rita, I don't even remember if she has a hand of her powers. Cliff can punch. Jane can punch. Negative Man had the negative spirit, but now that's gone forever. So, and Cyborg is not Cyborg anymore. It's like, what is their team? Like, this can't be classified as a superhero team if, like, majority of them ain't super. So, well, okay, you can make an argument on the other front. Also, my hair was getting in my eyes because it's getting that long. Where do we go? Yeah, so back in Florida, Cliff is held in front of the brain, and I'm just laughing my ass off because, like, Cliff just like, I'm back in Florida again. I just left again. Why am I always going back to Florida? So Demills spills being on the master plan that they have, which I'm like, why do villains do that? Why do they always brought the master plan that they have before they conduct it? Can you just wait till afterwards? And, well, her master plan is that we're going to get the brain to go in your body. And then he's going to change his voice. So when Cliff goes back to the manor, he'll be welcome with open arms. But then slowly the brain will, trick them into breaking each other up from internally. And then thus breaking apart the Doom Patrol, putting out no real threat to them in this world. Which I'm just thinking to myself. So basically you're going to do Zemo from Civil War. But not very successfully, considering the fact that this is only just 4 freaking misfits that I think anyone else would easily try. Okay. Whatever you want to do there. And the brain's like, oh, you simple girl, that is not being evil. You don't even understand the concept of it. The gorilla knocks her out. And the only reason why the brain cares, again, the body. How the hell the Niles built the body, who knows? But that's a very valuable tool for the brain because, he just has his brain. He doesn't have any other human body. So it's like he could just plant his brain into the robot man and then boom, he has the strength, the power of the even more immortality to even be a bigger threat. So that's what he does. To what end, we don't entirely know yet. So they knock off the Mells. They put freaking Cliff's brain in like a jar, like one of those old-fashioned type jars, and I'm just like, it would have been so funny. And I'm pretty sure, like, yeah, there's only so much you can do with like how much you can make Cliff a freaking force, a laughing force to be reckoned with. But it would have been so funny if they added a voice modulator to the freaking tub, so that Cliff can still speak without a freaking head, and it would have been so funny. But I'm like, okay, there's always some stuff you can do. You can't go that far. It's like craziness, though. So the gorillas dispatched to get rid of them, dispose of them. So the rest of the Doom Patrol have hit the road. They're heading to Florida to fight the Brotherhood, and it seems like they're on decent terms. But of course, there's still some tensions. The fact that half of them don't really have powers anymore. Well, most of them don't have powers anymore. Um, Victor not being fully accepted by the team with his new appearance. Jane dealing with the fact that Kay has now been emotionally scarred again. And, she wants to help her, but, there's never really much she can do. There's only two personalities now. It's not like Jane can, one personality has to be there always. And, as for Rita's case, she's just trying to pitch, boost the team's morale. Like, we're going to Florida. We're going to stop the Brotherhood. We're going to get Cliff back. But they all know it's like, okay, be serious. Why are you doing this? Like, there is absolutely no way we're putting this much effort in to rescue Cliff. Which I'm like, oh my god, that fucking sucks. Because, like, Cliff is the star of the show. If he left the show, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not. Like, the review series is canceled. Yeah, so eventually, Rita does explain that her plan was... her motivations were not what, she was telling them. There's that she traveled back in time to try and get away from the Mills because she always knew ever since they first even encountered her, like, she's bad news. She's going to be a problem to them. She wanted to get away. She did. She was away for 30 years. She had a whole new life, new friends, a new family, a love interest, and she took them all away from her. And now she's back. It's like, I came back home, but this doesn't feel like home anymore, which I'm like, I'm not surprised. Honestly, this was Rita's honestly, the entire arc for Rita this season could be more chalked up to, like, this was her version of grief and moving on from Niles' death. Because I'm gonna be honest, like, as much as they hate Niles was kind of like a father figure to them. He supported them. He helped, like, take care of them. Like, regardless of how it got there, he still paid their bills. He still took care of them financially and mentally. So you still got to give that credit. He was still technically an important father figure to them, and he's gone. I mean, for some, it was hard. Like, Jane had a little bit to deal with. Obviously, Cliff and the rest didn't really have two shits to give. But for Rita, it wasn't home anymore because he was gone. Most of the team was, like, changing, and, now that she had this entire other life, and she's coming back home as well, it still doesn't feel like home to her. I'm not surprised. Like, on multiple aspects, her current timeline is not home anymore to her. And she feels like killing the Mills and defeating the Brotherhood would begin the proper process of getting back to that point again. Which I'm like, will it? Who knows? Maybe it's too far gone for me. Maybe, like, Rita shouldn't stop searching for the old home she used to have, but start looking for a new home. Or in that logical sense for her. I don't know. She's immortal, so, like, she's going to have to restart many times. I mean, look at Wonder Woman. Look how many times she had to do it. So, yeah, I think from there, that point, yeah, so eventually they turn to arguing, and then, oh yeah, I forgot, yeah, the brain does successfully do the transplant, so he's in Robot Man's body. And I will say this. The design of the outfit for Robot Man was like, I can instantly tell, because, like, this isn't like the brain is Cliff in the robot body. This is like, no, this is the brain in the robot body. Like, that's how well, like, I viewed it. It's like, as a viewer, it's like the changing of the outfit, like, it was so spot on that I knew, like, this was the brain. This is not Cliff. There's no part of Cliff in there. It's fully the brain, which I understood. And then he just starts dancing around for something. Like, all the things the villain to do when he gets a new body. He starts dancing. Which I'm like, okay, I'm not surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. I believe from that point, so after that point, the Doom Patrol are arguing in the van. Sans Jane, they're just arguing about, like, what the motivation. Well, supposedly they're just arguing. We don't really hear what's going on. Meanwhile, in Jane's mind, Kay is, like, exploring the vast wasteland that is her mind now, and she finds, I think, the demonic leftovers of her personalities. She runs away. She starts screaming. She locks herself in her room, and then her scream echoes throughout her entire mind to the point where Jane also screams, which is like a powerful screech that causes the bus to flip over, indicating, like, yeah, they're really fucked now. Like, even if they'll probably make it out of this alive, but it's just, will they actually have a fighting chance against the Brotherhood? Probably not. But that's next week's problem, because that wraps up this week's episode of Doom Patrol. So, I think now just talking about it, I still thought this was an enjoyable episode. It definitely does not reach the heights of the last 2 weeks, which is fine. This definitely just sets the game, the end game for the season, what the motivations are, what the stakes are here. Um, I I don't know even how they're gonna do it, but they're gonna somehow do it. You know, stop the day, save the day, whatever you want to do it, and also leave some sort of interesting cliffhanger for the next season. That's what I'm expecting, but everything we saw, yeah, definitely you definitely get another reassurance like why Rita's doing this, why DeMills is doing this, how the other guys are feeling after everything they've been through. Seeing Cyborg without his cyborg parts, it's kind of weird for me because like I'm so used to like the metal attachment that it's still weird for me to see him without them, and it's probably just a me thing. It's so weird for me at least. That's what I'm just saying. I think you can chalk up mostly this episode to be just about what is the motivation of everyone at this point in the story. What is it at this point? I think that's the best you can describe it as and the best you can infer it as. But beyond that, this was still a very serviceable episode. It gets us where we need to go, and it definitely sets up the same stage for an interesting finale next week. So, yeah. Yeah, and also finally getting to understand the freaking mind of Kane, how that all works. Like, finally it makes sense, for me at least, because, like, maybe it's just because I don't really fully pay attention during this, like I do, but I don't really, like, use my brain 100%. Or it could just be me being an idiot. Either or. Whatever you want to chalk it up to. I'm pretty sure that Parasite baby is dead. Let's just be honest. It probably did not survive the car crash. If it somehow did, it's like, you're really stretching it here with the loss of physics for the sword. You're really stretching it, don't you think? But yeah. I'm going to give this episode 1 3/4 thumbs up. Well, 1.5. Let's say 1.5. It was still serviceable. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of Doom Patrol. I'm always down for conversation down below. And I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of Doom Patrol. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's in the Tube, besides our Doom Patrol reviews, we're currently doing Nancy Drew Season 3 episode reviews each and every Sunday mornings after a brand new episode on Friday nights on the CW, or free on the CW app the next day. We're also doing The Rookie Season 4 episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. We're also doing DC Stargirl reviews each and every Wednesday mornings after a brand new episode on Tuesday nights normally on the CW or free the next day on the CW app. And we're also doing Walker Season 2 episode reviews each and every Friday mornings after a brand new episode on Thursday nights on the CW or free the next day on the CW app. Titan Season 3 review next week, so stay tuned for that. But if you don't care about Doom Patrol, you're in luck. Next week is our season finale review, the last Doom Patrol episode for a while until next year for Season 4. So as usual, we have the finale review next week, Saturday morning, and then the week after that, we're going to have the Season 3 review, spoiler freeze, and then in that following week, I believe the week of Thanksgiving, we're going to be doing our Season 4 predictions video, and that will be it for Doom Patrol for the year of 2021. But again, we might get that spinoff. I mean, that was here's the thing about that spinoff. Like, it was confirmed, it was in production. I'm not sure if it was just like a false rumor, or just like, I know they were teasing a spinoff, but I'm gonna be mindful and say they will probably announce something next week, because I'm pretty sure they just wanted to put all the focus on Doom Patrol, and then afterwards they'll focus on like that spinoff. Whether or not the spinoff will come in between 3 and 4 is a big question. And remember, if they do end up doing a spinoff for Doom Patrol, we will be doing a review series for it. So I'm just letting you know about that. So anyway, again, this has been What's the Tube from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next video is live. Also, follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to. If you want to help us get us out there to other members of the fan patrol who have yet to discover us. Helps us beat up the YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much in life, and as well as sharing for free here on the internet. But until next week, for all you members of the fan patrol, I'll see you all then for the season finale review. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.